Hello, everyone. Welcome to Eddie and Jimmy on this Monday with one round to go. G'day, Jimmy Bartel being the Jimmy of the two. How are you, buddy?
Good, we're back together. Band's back together.
Finally, mate. Good to have you, pal.
No, I'm excited. It was a great round of footy and can't wait to get into it.
Okay, we'll talk about how the wildcard round has have ended up. All right, because there's going to be dead rubbers, etc. there, which we sort of spoke about. We'll get to that, and that could be our deep heat rub it in moment for us a little bit later on. Thanks to our friends at Hyundai. Get down to test drive the Alexio at your Hyundai dealers at the moment, and of course, getting close to the end of the season, Fiji Airways. Visit FijiAirways.com to book your flight to Fiji and beyond. Fiji Airways, where happiness takes flight. Jim, as we've sat down today, as we sit down here at around 12:30 on the Monday. Big news is breaking around the Sydney Swans. It was broken by Tom Morris first up, and then some meat on the bones has been added by Jay Clark at the Herald Sun. And I quote from the Herald Sun, and he says, Sydney Swans players have allegedly been involved in a serious incident at the Pullman in East Melbourne, with police seen swarming the venue on Monday morning. A marked and unmarked police vehicle parked outside the Pullman on Monday morning is shown in the photographs out the front. It goes on to say, Sydney Swans players have allegedly been involved in a serious incident at the Pullman Hotel, East Melbourne. Swan spokesman this morning confirmed, quote, the Sydney Swans can confirm several players were involved in an alleged incident on in Melbourne last night, Sunday night, after their win against Essendon. Continuing the quote, the Swans have notified the AFL and relevant authorities and cannot provide further comment at this stage. The report goes on from Jay Clark. Police were swarming through the lobby and accessing hotel rooms amid the claims at Wellington Parade venue on Monday night. It goes on, one source said there had been allegations of a sexual or violent assault, though the Herald Sun has yet to confirm this. The Swans were staying at the hotel, as we said, after beating Essendon. As many as 8 plainclothes and uniformed police carrying clipboards and camera equipment were seen moving around the venue, with several more guarding the staircase leading to the main entrance. There were also several marked and unmarked police cars parked outside. That's the story verbatim from Jay Clark on the Herald Sun, as I said, broken originally by Tom Morris. Now, we're not going to get any further into it because this is now a police matter and not one for speculation, as much as we have both spoken to different people and hearing various stories. Nothing that I would be prepared to go with at the moment. These things you have to really, really close down and let the authorities get straight into it. Right. However, from a footy point of view, as we're a footy podcast, this is not ideal.
No, it's not. And we just sit and wait for as more information comes out. And as you said, I don't think there's much we can add.
No. And as I said, no speculation other than these things are always vexed and horrible situations for all parties involved. And we hope that everyone who is involved is being well looked after at the moment. All right, so let's move forward from that. That'll be the biggest story of the week, maybe the final series coming up. Right, so let's get back to the footy. Round 23.
An incredible round of footy. Yeah. 2 draws. 2 teams playing a draw for the second time this year.
For the first time ever.
And can we, again, put a full stop, underline, double score, italics, bold, whatever font you want to use, Times New Roman, whatever be. Don't worry about playing extra time. The draw is a result. And this is, I know you putting, look at you got your marketing hat on, all that sort of stuff.
No, I'm not. I want to put this to you though, right?
Put it to me.
Can I just say this? I agree with you.
The draw is a result.
I agree with you. Okay, so.
Already, but.
Right. However,
sorry.
If we're going to have extra time in finals.
Yes.
Now, at one stage there, we had 3 ways of deciding a final. Yeah. We had draw, extra time in finals, replay in a grand final.
Yes.
Now, we got rid of the one that was probably the one we should have kept, which is, I like the idea of you play to win a grand final. But anyway, we all have to get to Bali apparently, so we can't do that. Forget the 35 million you put in your pocket by playing a replay. But
the only difference for that is you're playing for points and ladder position. The other one, you've got actually just playing for a result. So it doesn't actually matter how much you win by.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Right.
Yeah. Sure it covers.
Okay. No, I'm with you. I'm just saying this is a discussion. But by the way, I mean, you get people who hear
you don't have to win all
this podcast. Everyone goes nuts, and they'll go, completely ape when I go through what I think we should do with the fixture for next year.
Yeah, the McGuire system.
The McGuire system works. does.
In the EFL, the Eddie Football League.
In the Eddie Footy League. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, I'll go through it there.
Yeah.
As you can see, I've just flown
No, you
back.
put some work in.
I've just flown. You see this? I've just flown back from the Logies. So this is me in the plane this morning.
You got beautiful penmanship. Did you get your pen license in kinder?
I did. Well, I was old school. I used to have
A quill.
basically, I used to have the old fountain pens.
Yeah.
And but before that, what my mother used to do, how she taught me how to write before I went to school, was she used to get a hair clip and put the indentations on the paper so that I would learn how to fill it in. She'd make sure that I just didn't colour it in. I did it
Keep
properly.
between the lines.
Yeah, everything. Yeah.
The little angle between the A's and the B's and all
It's
that.
gone a bit skew-if now. My fingers are a bit cooked over the years, but
All right,
yeah.
but finish your point on the draw before you get to the
Well,
McGuire
let me just so let's go to the draw, as in a drawn game.
Yeah.
The only thing that would get me to change my mind is to say, righto, here is now our standardised way of having a draw in finals, etc. And that I can understand that logic. Am I racing to stop it? No.
No, because if you want to use, and I know there's unique circumstances regarding the Western Bulldogs Carlton draw.
Yeah. Yes.
Carlton were playing for the draw,
Exactly.
which is a unique way to play the game.
Probably the first time ever, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely.
But again, I thought that was great. It was. Can I put to you? Carlton knew what they needed to do. Hawthorn didn't. What was wrong with Hawthorn not knowing what they were doing?
How so?
Well,
what highlighted?
I will put 2 points to you.
Yep.
Why didn't Dylan Moore aim at the points?
Someone once did that in a big Geelong Hawthorn game.
Yeah. What happened?
We got the win. Yeah, I was there that day.
Yeah. But what happens? He doesn't make the distance, right? If he just aims for the points, he actually kicked the ball 15 metres further than he needed to get a score. So that's the first bit, right?
Hey, you got to see it. I'm still waiting for the broadcast to show on. But keep going.
Well, I'll come back to that because there's another one that I want to. I'm going to have to put this out into the ether because it was actually on X, and I was on the plane and I couldn't get the vision up. About the goal that was scored. Joe, you were there. Who's your Hawthorn bloke who scored the goal right on the goal line? Max Beattie, the first gamer. So I'm sitting up in the box and I'm right on the line. And Stephen Quartermain, mad Hawthorn supporter who was giving all sorts of opinions on some of the Hawthorn players, which I won't go into, he thought it was over line as well. Now I think the one replay I've seen, I thought he got it before the line. But anyway, we'll move on from that. But the other big blokes on the line at no stage were blocking the Collingwood people. They didn't, and they were trying to hit it through. If you hit it through, it's a dead ball. So they didn't know the rules.
Yeah,
I'm big on footballers not knowing the rules. Yeah, Collingwood knew the rules.
Through, it's a point.
Yeah.
Hawthorn knock it through, it's not. It's one of the weird things about our game.
Yeah, but how about shepherding?
Yeah. No one shepherds.
Yeah.
Actually, Freo shepherd, I noticed.
Yeah. But if you, again, let's role play it. If you were Dylan Moore, or if you were somebody there, would you go to Dylan Moore and say, mate, don't worry about that side of the goals. There, aim there.
Kicking an absolute
Drop punt.
Yep, piss missile straight between the point post and the goal post.
Yeah, well, it's only 40 metres. Pretty much.
Yeah.
From where he was.
Well, actually, yeah, you aim for the nearest goal post, so it gives you a little bit of space to either way.
Well, either way, that's your margin for error, not the. Anyway, he might have just mishit it. It was the end of the game. He played a good.
It's getting very
match.
critical, but
No, but I'm just saying. But what I'm thinking about is, when you get to this stage of the game, you really want people to know the rules, set it up, get right.
And that's why, back to our original point, that's why I like the draw, because I actually love seeing almost the personality of players and teams come out. So who's willing to risk it to win it? Mm-hmm. Are you dropping one back to just give yourself a little cover and then maybe get it on the rebound? Because we saw, I think it might have been Ed Allen's kick. He wanted to rip it up through the middle, but then some of his teammates were long down the line. But then Hardwick, because he kept his position back, bang, D'Ambrosio's kick to Jack Gunston was an absolute sensational kick. And then Gunston, smart, just find one.
It was great play. I mean, probably for the first time all game, Ed Allen just banged it forward as opposed to, there were players in the corridor, but of course you turn that over and it's all over. So let me throw it back to you with the Carlton one. So they did play for a draw. If we had extra time, they wouldn't have when they were taking that ball up the
made it
flank.
fun. It made it fun.
Yeah. I'm happy with the draw.
Now,
Right.
There's two parts that we nearly went down a couple of threads. Do you want to go down?
Do you want to go
the McGuire system,
Fixture?
or you want to go the broadcaster? Because you said,
We'll go broadcaster first. Go on.
yeah. Can we? The little box I keep putting in the corner keeps getting away. I know I'm being very picky here, but I want to see the action. I reckon we highlight a couple on the weekend. Dylan Moore's shot, Dirkson's mark on the goal line in that draw. We didn't see that. You highlighted Beattie as well.
Yep.
I know they've got 100 different things coming at them, and you know this better when they're sitting in the truck and it's like this, and that. If you're going to default down, just default to the wide shot and just let the game play. And then when you need to go, hey, have we got it ready? Play the goal line technology, whatever.
Look, again, there's a formula to directing a football game, but I like your point though. If you've got those camera shots and you've got time and you line up, and it's a split second. If you're in the control box,
intense.
it's on.
Yeah.
It's camera 5, do this, and you've got the commentators, yelling and screaming, and you're trying to get information through, etc. But again, I would like to your point, see the large shot being the shot on the line, because that's the only thing that mattered. And maybe the box shot could have been Dylan Moore kicking, and then because you got replays afterwards, it's actually just showing the result. So yeah, it's anything, but that's been picky, very picky.
Yeah.
But that's what we're here for, to have a look at different things. But yeah,
Keep presenting the game.
You do, but you sit down. There'll be discussions happening at Foxtel about that this morning, about how you go about doing it. But yeah.
All right. Anyway. The McGuire system?
Well, I'll just throw this up. I won't go into too much detail because, as you can see, there's I've been mucking around with all sorts of different permutations. But the way I'm going to go early, right? Deep heat, right? I'm going to rub this in. I'm going to go early on the deep heat, rub it in, so we don't back over it later on. But as soon as the AFL went with a wild card, you just knew that it was going to be all over a week before. So let me put it to you this way. Forget about the wild cards and all that sort of stuff. Here's my thesis, okay? Now, the 3 State of Origin games in the NRL and their grand final in prime time are probably going to knock off the AFL ratings this year. So what I want the AFL Commission to do, and everyone at AFL House, is this. Get up, get Pam the Birdman out, and spray paint it on the side of AFL House. We must win the ratings with the grand final to be the #1 show of the year. Okay? That's the first thing, and work back from there. We also have to have a situation where the AFL is weaponising the fixture to maximise the ratings and the success for Channel 7 and Foxtel. They are the lifeblood of our competition, and they're getting left behind by the NRL at the moment. Okay, now the deal we did was great. Peter V'landys has done a better deal now, and you can see now he's right in with the zone to put rugby league into London. They're going to look at buying the London League over there. So he's going, right, let's go. So the AFL have got to, step up, right? So they've been going like this on a trajectory probably since, I'll say, 1987 when they were flat broken, just about shot, and it's been like that. Now it's come off a bit. We need to go again. So my point is this. How do we maximise every game to be of significance? I'll give you the Reader's Digest version. Everybody plays everyone once. Okay? Then we have the 4 exotic games, that's derbies, etc., etc. I would open up, as I've said, with round 1 of the season being an absolute extravaganza where we break all records. Okay, so my round 1 would be West Coast and Adelaide in Perth, Port Adelaide and Freo in Adelaide, Sydney, Brisbane, SCG, Gold Coast, GWS in Brisbane. So that's all those teams playing each other, and you rotate them over the years, and that maintains your showdowns. Okay, in Melbourne, I'd have, for example, Richmond Carlton to open the season on a Thursday. Go with Collingwood St Kilda. They got 90,000 for a St Kilda game there. Geelong, I'd have a Geelong game at Geelong so that we get every ground covered. Let's say Geelong Essendon.
Or Geelong Dogs would be a nice one.
Well, I've had Geelong Dogs and I moved that, and I'll show you why.
Okay.
So Essendon, because they're going to finish on the bottom ladder. So you go down to Geelong. Hawthorn and I can't read my writing. Hawthorn Melbourne at the MCG, 2 MCG tenant clubs. And then I'd have at Marvel, because you've got to have a Marvel game, North and Western Bulldogs, because they're 2 home teams and they fill it up. Yep. So, I mean, my first reaction was Geelong versus Western Bulldogs. That was, there's my scratch out, okay? Because That was always almost the Western Derby, if you like. But you can turn that into when we have the rivalry rounds, that can be one of the rivalry rounds.
Yeah, true.
Okay, so what I'm trying to do is use the rivalry rounds, get the big games, make sure all the big games are there, Anzac Day, King's birthday, Easter Monday, all those things. Work it in so you can have some mini gather rounds as well in New South Wales in the middle of the year and Queensland in the middle of the year. Keep it out of cyclone season up north as best we can. Get a game so that maybe two teams go over to play West Coast and Fremantle so they can have 3 weeks staying in their bed at one particular time. But if everyone plays everyone once and we get those 4 away, it means that the last 2 weeks we would be able to then get to sort of, this is my play. And that is the last 2 weeks of the season, we call it the split. Now, they do this in the Scottish Premier League, but the split would be this. So this week's just gone, we would have had Essendon versus Richmond, and they're out of the final series. Now, where there's hairs on this, which I confess, is that it does give teams at the bottom of the ladder a chance to jump up in the last couple of weeks of football. But, hope springs eternal. That's what we're trying to get. So I would have then a situation where the top 4 teams play each other for ladder positions.
Can they drop out of that top 4?
No.
Okay.
No,
so
not in the
top 4 is locked.
For the first week.
Yep.
Okay, so they're there. And then, I'm just trying to find my stuff. And then, so the top 4. So this week it would have been, depending on, if I go 1v4, 2v3, it would have been, so this last week's games would have been Freo and Hawthorn, Sydney and Brisbane. Mm-hmm. Okay. Then the next playouts would have been Melbourne versus West Coast, that's 5th versus 16th. Geelong versus Port, 6th versus 15th. Adelaide versus Gold Coast, 7th versus 14th. Collingwood, North Melbourne, Western Bulldogs and GWS, and Carlton and St Kilda. The bottom 4 ranked teams who lose are out. Okay? Ranked. Okay. So that's why it's good to finish up the ladder, because you save your position.
So one of those bottom 4 roles, one of those top sides, one of those top sides could be out.
Well, not the top,
because of the ranking.
The mid-ranking ones, yeah. So the idea is for every game to mean something, and a chance for Carlton are coming good at the moment. It's the fairy tale. So if they're good enough to win the next 6 games and win the flag, wow, what a story! And then the next week, it can cross over, but basically what happens there is another 2 come out, and then you're left with your final 8. So I'll tell you what I'm trying to achieve. Okay.
What are you trying to achieve, Ed?
I'm trying to achieve this. So 17 rounds, everyone plays everyone. 4 rounds of exotics, as I call them. The last 2 weeks are qualifying matches. Have a bye week between all that, so that the top 4 sides have basically played it, pretty good sides. You maximise it and turn it into awards week. Do all the All-Australian, do all that sort of stuff. Get all your shoulder programming in. Get a big AFL conference around that time. Declare an interest. I run Sport Next. There's my book. There's Sport Next. That could be part of that, because particularly when the NFL are in town. And that's all happening at the moment. And, for a couple of weeks' time, and the NFL coming to town, I reckon concussion would be a really good topic just at the minute. Then you go into a finals extravaganza, and let's learn from what we're going to pick up from the NFL this year. You can produce a big grand final style footy show on 7 or wherever it's going to go. And then you turn grand final weekend into something spectacular. So I'd love to see the grand final move into October. Okay, and we're going to have to do that anyway, probably when Tassie comes in. But if you went to the second week, it means then that you're not getting smothered by the NRL preliminary finals, which happens at the moment. And we gift Peter Volanti's Sunday night grand final on 9 with free air. What are we doing on that weekend? We're all watching it. If you went the other side of it, we'd be able to do the same back to them. You could have the grand final. You get rid of that stupid holiday on the Friday and put on the Monday if you want to have a holiday. Okay. Saturday becomes Super Saturday for the parade, captain's run. Sunday, they have the Sunday night game, 7:32 because it's daylight saving, easy to get to. 7:32 is sunset on that particular day. Then on the Monday, you can have the grand final Champions Day. Have a parade. Since you got a holiday.
Now, you've written all that down.
Mm-hmm.
Have you typed it out? Because
I know it's a bit bouncing around, but
No.
it's not as complicated as it sounds.
No. I didn't think it was overly complicated. Is that part of your first 100 days as the next AFL commissioner?
Well, I've been banging on about this for a while, but let me go back to my...
I haven't seen you since there's been the great push for you to be...
Yeah, but it's, again...
I'm not trying to be silly,
but I want to be serious. I'll put on the record here, right? I got asked by Hurdy the other night, and if people actually listen to what I said, yes, people rang me while I was overseas to say, oh, this is a debacle, you know, we need to get you in there, et cetera, et cetera. No one from the AFL's rung me. I'm catching up with...
Well, no one from the AFL is likely to put their hand up to say this, to step aside.
I have a scheduled meeting with Craig Drummond just for lunch anyway in the near future, but that's got nothing to do with it. I don't necessarily want to be on the commission or anything else. I want to just help footy as best I can. Now, the upside of all this is Seven and Foxtel, who we need to have as our friends because we haven't been friendly to them. So let me just put this to you, Jim.
Yep.
Last Thursday, right, we didn't have an AFL game on Thursday night. Right, 2 weeks out from the finals.
AFLW on.
We had AFLW, okay? 2,000 people turned up to AFLW. How would you schedule an AFLW game at Carlton at Princes Park
With two Bayside teams.
with two Bayside teams and not having Carlton in there? And Melbourne, who don't leave the MCG to go to the men's games, and Hawthorn, who actually gazetted it that was on the Friday. But that's not a knock on Hawthorn. But I'm just saying that was just destined to fail. Does anyone not real? Does no one down at the AFL house actually work out what the temperature is on these nights?
I think the fixturing department this year, I think we've made our thoughts very strong. They need their heads.
But not only that, though, what they did is Channel 7, I mean, it sounds like I'm, batting for Channel 7 here, but I am because they're the lifeblood of what we do. Channel 7 got smashed. Channel 9, my mob, they had the highest rating Thursday night home and away game ever. And you know what pumped the accelerator on it? Everyone looking for a game of sport of a top level that night. It set back the women's game. It was in the wrong position, the wrong timing, and it was just wrong-headed, the whole thing. So what I want to see is no dead games for Seven and Foxtel and for the public and everyone to turn up. You can reschedule the games 3 times through the course of the year. We get 6 weeks basically of finals. Even the bottom sides then have a chance of a win because they play each other. They don't. When I say they drop out, they still keep playing.
Have you fixed the bye rounds during the year?
Yeah. What do you want from them?
Maximum 2 weeks total.
Yeah, that's it. But you can do that because it spreads out.
Yeah, do whatever, as you say, whatever novel ideas, my apologies.
Play the kids. You can do all that. And what it doesn't do is what we've happened with Geelong now, where they're playing Essendon, North Melbourne. Now, North was a good side, and Richmond. And it is, it's mucking up the percentages. Also, you've got to actually do some deals for our partners. So that weekend would be Bathurst weekend. Imagine how big that would be, having Bathurst into the news, into the AFL Grand Final. A day of absolute top demographics for Channel 7 to make as much money as they can. On the Saturday, you've got the Toombul Stakes, you've got the Bathurst preliminaries, you've got all these things happening. It would just be unbelievable. Same for, and by the way, Foxtel as well. They broadcast Bathurst and they do all those sorts of things. So I think it would be really good, and it works over a 2-year period because you have the home and away to balance out. Now, where are the fleas? The fleas are in that it does give the teams down the bottom a bit more of a chance, and there could be an upset. But that's sort of what we're all about. That's the romance of the game. And you'd have to work out the home and away match returns, et cetera. But with equalisation there, that can be sorted out.
You'd have draft order locked in after they've played everyone once.
Yeah. Hang on a second. I want to take this. Okay, this is... Yeah. Hello? Okay, fine. Can you, Jim, just have a look? Because press release, Tom Morris has just further reported on this Sydney incident, but we quote there. So
I've got this is from Tom Morris. There is an alleged sexual assault incident. Of course, we're talking about the Sydney incident.
Yep.
There were 3 women in the foyer around 7:30 a.m. confronting Sydney staff, including Dean Cox at one point, who witnesses said looked shocked by the scene. Also, this is from Mitch Cleary, and again, these are all quotes directly.
Yep.
Police are investigating a report of a sexual assault in East Melbourne on the 17th of the 8th. The incident occurred at a hotel on Wellington Parade in the early hours of the morning. The exact circumstances are yet to be established, and the investigation into the incident remains ongoing.
Yep.
So just an update.
There's an update there. So this story, as we said, developing as it goes.
Hey,
so there's a bit in all that, okay, but it's not as complicated as it seems. So the bottom line is, we would be having we would have lost 4 teams eliminated last weekend. Everyone would have been playing somebody that mattered, and this weekend we'd drop another 2 out. We'd have the season break, and then we'd have the final 8.
Well, my deep heat rub it in is very similar, and I'll be really brief because you touch on a lot of stuff, and it's almost rub it in for both you and I. When we first heard of the wild card and the AFL's term of games of consequence, our concern was all you're doing is moving the games with a lack of consequence, further forward.
Yep.
And of course, with this round, with the top 10 being locked, that's not saying I'm not open-minded. I'm excited by seeing good games of football, so I'm not smashing it.
Yeah.
But it was always a concern. And then you add into the fact, and without getting bogged down, with the new draft rules, finishing between 11th and 14th is the worst place you want to finish now in footy. But what it does do is, this funny thing is going to happen now, that if your team can finish 10th, yay, for the coach, you could get hired. If you finish 11th, boo, you could get fired. It actually makes almost the demarcation line now of good or bad. Now, I'm not saying about the teams that we know like Richmond and West Coast and North Melbourne who are coming from a long way back and working up. But if you're someone like St Kilda who clearly set out to make the top 10, it makes it pretty clear cut whether your season's been a tick or a cross, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. All right. Well, again, I welcome everyone's feedback. I actually got somebody sent me a text the other day saying from the 1916 season, which was affected by World War I, where Fitzroy won the wooden spoon and the premiership in the same year. And I went, yeah, that's actually a good point because I'm giving somebody the chance. But again, if you can win from last week all the way through and beat everybody, good luck.
Good luck.
Well, it becomes the story of all time.
Yep.
Yeah, but
it is difficult if you're going to use the VFL wildcard. Most teams who won the wildcard game got belted the next week. I think only one team in that thing has gone on and won a second game.
Yeah.
Anyway, again, I'm happy to see it.
Yeah. All right, let's go.
Bartel Medal.
Bartel Medal.
Jamal has gone. Nick Dacos for 1 vote, 2 votes to Isaac Rankin, and 3 votes for Max Hall.
Good player, Max Hall, isn't he?
Very, very good player. We've got a stack of players there. A lot of them came out of the Adelaide and Freo game because I thought that was a cracking game. But some great news for you, Ed.
Yeah.
I'll get to it shortly.
Go on.
On 23 is Cozzy. 26, Will Ashcroft. His last 10 weeks have been extraordinary. Naz, of course, doesn't go any further. Max Gawn on 31. The Bont not playing on 36. And Nick Dacos with an unsaleable lead on 44 votes.
And some other news that's just coming through this morning as well as Humphrey has signed.
Yes, for the Gold Coast.
Gold Coast, which
extended
is
to 2030.
Yeah, there it is.
For a man who we thought every single week was trying to get out of there.
Get out of there.
It was extended.
Well, he's 21 years of age. He's extended, and that's great news for the Gold Coast.
Well done.
Yeah,
he's got
fantastic.
talent. We want to see him go well there.
Yeah, we do. Great stuff. All right, we want to do the Bartel Medal. What was you've done all
You've
that?
done it,
So I was
done
just looking up. Sorry, mate. The
Nick Dacos
so Dakes
won.
wins.
Dakes
Well,
win.
Bont's not going to play. And by the way, I think we've got to tip our lid to Bont, who's obviously played on one leg for most of the year.
He's a champ.
He's a superstar.
They're all champs in my top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
And
6.
I'll tell you who's coming home like a freight train. Will Ashcroft.
Yeah, I just said his last 10 weeks.
Wow. He's just been fantastic.
His last 10 weeks.
Bit going on. Sorry, mate. I was just checking texts and all sorts of things.
Pretty cool thing to win a medal named after your dad, and your dad presents it to you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
The Marcus Ashcroft medal is...
It was almost like that.
It's my son, Will. Hey, come up here.
Even better for the Logies last night had Bruce McAvaney won the Bruce McAvaney Award.
Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't win it, though.
How are the Logies going these days?
No, it was long, but it was good.
Yeah?
Yeah. I presented one last night. It was a disaster.
Really? Why? What happened?
Oh, no. What happened? Well, quickly what happened
Blue
was...
Heelers win?
No, they're not going around.
Water Rats?
Come on. They're all coming back they're getting Lifetime Achievement Awards. No, it's just that there was a cock-up on the auto cue with Julia Morris, who really did well to fight her way out of it, but it just seemed to be all over the place. So yeah, it was one of those ones just standing up on stage going, what's going on here? Yeah. Anyway, there it is. Live TV.
No. No, thanks.
Mate, we've got plenty to talk to everyone about. We'll be back Wednesday. See you on Footy Classified tonight. I'll be back with Footy Classified tomorrow. Obviously, massive stories happening in the AFL in this last week of the home and away season. Good on you, mate. Always plenty to talk about, and I love doing it with you. Thanks to Hyundai, the Alexio. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today, and Fiji Airways. And don't forget your Ski G opportunities to go skiing overseas, but also getting some sun on your back at fabulous Fiji. Thanks to Paul Scurra and the team at Fiji Airways. This has been Eddie and Jimmy.